I don't know that I've ever really heard anybody talk about this, so I am curious to throw it out there to the universe too. If you're a GM or an owner, let's say both, right? Because we know that owners obviously have says in a lot of this stuff.
Hmm.
Do you look at it more as a business? So meaning, are you purposely looking at it saying, well, if I draft someone who is very highly touted and could bring some energy and excitement, does that then equal more ticket sales? Does that then equal more jersey sales? Does
Yeah.
that then equal more publicity for my team? Like, do you think that like the GMs and the owners are looking at it that way naturally rather than, hey, like it'd be great to win a Super Bowl? Obviously, like that's the
Hmm.
pinnacle, but I don't know how much of it do you think is more that of like it's like a chess game of all
It,
like making money, right? At the end of the day, it's a
yeah,
business.
I think all of the above is true. Everything you just said, I would attribute to drafting and trading and free agency pickups. Um, Again, you want to keep the fans excited. Sometimes that means you got to do maybe what isn't necessarily the best decision, but it makes you the revenue in all the other ways, right? Other than just winning football games. And so I liken that to like if a GM is kind of like dead stuck, I can go this way or I can go this way. I think money always decides that tiebreaker. Which one
Hmm.
of these players is going to be more marketable to our fan base? Which one of these
Hmm.
players will put more eyes on our team? And I think that's exactly why we're seeing Mendoza being chosen first overall this week for the Raiders, because it's going to bring the jersey sales. It's going to get them, maybe some primetime football games, maybe not because they were
Yeah.
really bad last year, but it's going to open up some doors that would be closed if they picked up like 2 or 3 linemen. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, yes, to your point, I think there's a seesaw there. I think they're weighing their pros and cons. And I think money does talk in the end of the day on some of these decisions.
But how much do you think like the average sports fan thinks about that kind of stuff?
Very little, I would say.
Hmm.
I think the average sports fan thinks about that very little. The diehards might consider it, or maybe the diehards don't consider it at all. Maybe the casuals are more considerate of that.
Hmm.
Um, because I think sometimes the diehards are too focused on analytics and scouting reports and all these things, which that's a whole nother conversation we could go down right now. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't think it's a common thought to consider the business behind some of these transactional decisions other than salary cap. I think everyone thinks about salary cap, but I don't think people think about the indirect revenue that comes in from these players from advertisement deals and jersey sales and TV time and
Hmm.
HBO Hard Knocks, like these types of things that come up, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of just an interesting, for whatever reason I was thinking about it, I was like, when you really break this down, right? Like there's more to it than obviously it's sports at the
Right.
core, but at the end of the day, like it's still a business, right? Like they make money. Obviously the players get paid a shit ton.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like there's like a whole nother side of it's like a rabbit hole, of like the business side of sports where
Oh yeah.
some of the decisions may not make any sense. And, I feel like when people talk about stuff and criticize people, it's like, I think it's really easy to see it from our perspective of, average and above average guys. But
Yeah. I
I
think
don't
the
know.
business side of things actually makes it even more perplexing for why Shador Sanders didn't go until the 5th round last year because like the dude is it Nike? He's got like a Nike deal. Yeah, because he had like the just do it with his arm pump. And so yeah, I think there's some financial gain to have him on your team, but it's also, in my opinion, a very short term financial gain because that dude's not going to be starting in the NFL, right? I think he's already seen most of the field time in his career. I think Deshaun Watson may take over that team again this year.
Hmm.
Um, and so we may have already seen like the most that we're going to see of Shador Sanders at this point. In that case,
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't really worth it. And so maybe that's why they didn't pick him until the 5th round.
Well, I heard all the massage parlors closed out in Cleveland. So he'd probably be back.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe he can go to New England with Mr. Kraft.
Maybe. Hey, listen, something's in the water up there. Now we got Mike Vrabel in the news with some, with some
Oh, yeah.
distractions, and he had some
Distractions.
difficult conversations recently, is what he said he had to have. So
Distractions.
hell of a football coach, though.
Talk about busts.
Wow. Yeah, we went there. We went there.
I had to.